I was learning music as a very bad amateur player a long time ago, and both I was carpenter and furniture maker. And then one day, a friend of mine, Christophe Morisset, who played tuba like me, just Christophe said to me, "Do you know serpent?" I didn't know the serpent, so I met a plastic serpent owning to Christophe, and then it was like a revelation for me. It was like coup de foudre en français, in French, like when you fall in love with something or somebody. It was something like music meets my very poor knowledge in music meets my knowledge in, as carpenter and furniture maker, and it was a revelation for me. And I feel, I say to myself, I'm going to try to do something. I'm going to understand what is going on with this instrument, and what is going on with my feeling, with such a thing. But I didn't suspect that one day I could make serpent as a professional maker. It was just well, yes, I try and we will see. And then month after month and year after years, it took 3 or 4 years to begin something seriously. I started to make a real serpent, and not only some acoustical experiences with prototypes. It took 3 years to go further to the first prototype, who played in 2010 in a gig in Antwerpen. My first prototype, the serpent prototype, played in Antwerpen in 2010. So yes, but it's very important to mention that my knowledge, my experience, 30 years experience in wood crafting was very important. I wouldn't have succeeded without this experience because it's very complex. Okay. And yeah.
So could you briefly introduce what kind of instrument a serpent is?
Please, try to speak not so fast.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Could you briefly introduce what kind of instrument a serpent is?
Yeah, okay. A serpent is an instrument, brass family, cuivre in French, brass family, because the mouthpiece is a mouthpiece for brass, and the origin of the serpent is not very clear. Why some makers and musicians invented the serpent? It's not clear, because it's not clear where was invented the first serpent. French people, they have the idea that it was in Auxerre at the end of 16th century, but it's not sure. It's not a scientific historical position, and there are probably older serpent in Italy. So the origin is not very clear, but what is sure is that serpent was very common in France at the beginning of 17th century, early 17th century, before 1710. There was a lot of serpent player in France at this time. So it's true that the early life of serpent was in the church for religious music at the beginning of 17th century. Probably there was serpent before, but not a long time before, because there is nothing attesting of music played on serpent in the 16th century. Actually, maybe we will find something, but I tried to find something, but I didn't find anything, actually. And serpent in this condition, religious music, played probably to sustain the choir, the singers, and into the church, and there was not a lot of bass instrument. It is a bass instrument. There was not a lot of bass instrument playing all the notes. There was the bass trombone, bass saxophone, and some bassoon, early bassoon. But serpent was a particular sound, and the serpent takes a particular part in the color of the sound with choir, with singers. It is a very strange thing, because the harmonics of the instruments are very special, very different of a bassoon, and very different of a saxophone or trombone. So it takes a special part in sustaining the singers, and it was the first life of the serpent in early 17th, and maybe in all the 17th century was to sustain the choir and the singers in the religious ceremony. So and then as the music in the church changes with more instruments, with a complete orchestra, we can imagine that the serpent became to have some work to play as a continuo or a bass instrument in orchestra close to the bassoon and close to other bass instrument. There are how can I say? There are some testimonial score with annotation serpent on bass. There are some scores of 18th century, not 17th. I don't know from 17th, but on 18th century there are some scores with annotation serpent on bass. So
okay.
It was the second life of the serpent. Then, after the serpent was in orchestra, it's possible, and it's yes, I think it's true. It became to the other types of orchestra, and very important in military orchestra. And military orchestra travel because of war. Then travel because of war and battles. Serpent travel, and during the 18th century, the serpent began to go throughout all the Europe until to Russia, to Britain, to all throughout Europe, and not only in Italy, in France, and okay. And then throughout the military orchestra, there was the third life of the serpent, the third short life of the serpent, who begins in the symphonic orchestra, romantic orchestra, both in a symphonic and in all sorts of orchestra. It's an important period because it is a period where serpent had to play chromatic music, more chromatic music. Then the keys appear. All the keys, 1 key, 2 key, 4, 3 key, and some serpent with 10 keys. But I think it was also the death of the serpent, because by changing the original 6 holes instruments, the sound and the feeling of the musician begins to change, and the musician begins to feel a need of another instrument with a more 19th century sound, with a more romantic sound and a symphonic sound, and then appear upright serpent, Russian bassoon, and then opi클레이드, which is very close. Opi클레이드 is very close of some English military band serpent, yes, which have 10 keys for and very large holes, very large keys, and it's very interesting because at this time the musician said, "Oh, okay, I will play opi클레이드, I will not play serpent," but the sound is different, and the place in the music is very different. Okay, and then there is the revival on the serpent nowadays. I hope.
Yes, that is the very question I would like to ask. So, in the contemporary music, in the nowadays music, so how is the serpent used? In what kind of music is serpent used in the nowadays music?
And nowadays music, it's a very interesting question because yeah, it's a very interesting question. In nowadays music, musicians, some musicians play very authentic music for serpent from 17th century or Planchon. Okay, and some other they play. I have some customers. They play in a rock group with acoustic instrument and modern instrument like drums, synthesizer, electric guitar, and some play contemporary music. With improvisation and with quartet quart tone music, quart, very strange song. And some play. One of my customers, he played in a gothic rock group with a serpent. But it's a very interesting music. If you want, I can send a video in a few days, because he's going to send me a new video of his group, and I can sing some. And one of my customers is playing make some event with a videoist, with a video maker. And the video maker makes improvisation on during the jig with the sound of the serpent, and he make visual improvisation, and serpent makes sound improvisation together. They improvise. It's very interesting, and some. All the customer, quite all the customer will buy some for cage serpent, so more 19th century serpent. They play from time to time in romantic music from Mendelssohn or Wagner or Donizetti. Because the sound is very interesting, and in this type of music, the serpent is often unisono with bassoon or double bass or cello sometimes, and it's interesting. I think okay, it's that's all. But it's
Okay, thank you. So I think that includes that. I think your answer also includes your opinion on the prospect of the serpent on the future. Like, so I would like to ask more specifically on your opinion on the prospect of the serpent.
Okay. Maybe if I don't answer exactly to your question, just stop me. That's because I maybe I don't understand, but I begin to answer.
Okay.
I look at the chat. Okay, I don't understand the chat. My opinion for this revival and the future. I think the serpent, to play serpent, it needs a lot of modesty and listening what the instrument says to you. When you, for example, when you buy a tuba, if you buy a good tuba, you have a very large palette possibility to play like this, or to have a lot of types of teacher, and you can go to all sorts of music. With serpent, you must before that you must understand how does the instrument speaks to you, and not you say to the instrument, speak like that. No, the instrument speaks to you, then you understand, and then you can play in that direction or in other direction. So I think it's not easy, and some people, they don't understand. But people who fall in love with serpent, they have a contact with the instrument very intense, very with a lot of sensibility, And regard to the music, I think each person will find which type of music is good for him and the instrument. I hear some people, they were very, they played very easily with in a church with a very traditional position of serpent, and they ask for an instrument. They choose an instrument very well adapted to this type of position in music. And I don't imagine they could play improvisation with electric guitar, for example, or like my friend Mitsuki Togane, who can play with piano, with a traditional Japanese instrument or contemporary music. But their way, it's traditional serpent, 6-0 serpent with religious ceremony. And some other musician like Gregor Schomel or maybe Elisabeth Coxall, my first customer, the first serpent I sell, she plays in a street rock group with serpent, very difficult position, but it's the way she finds. So it's both for the future. It's a very it's not an instrument for all. I think it's an instrument for people who have a feeling with it, but it's very open to the styles of music you can play with it.
I see. I think you answered the question well. Thank you. And lastly, could you show me the serpent? Could you show me an actual instrument? If you have.
Yeah, do you want? I have here, but I prepare also some photo if you are interested after presentation. I can comment we can share the screen if you want.
Yes, we can.
Okay, I go and take an instrument. Just wait.
Okay.
So here is a 3-cage serpent. Okay. So it's a copy of an instrument of the Museum of Brussels, who has 4K. There is you will see a photo. I have some photo later. You will see. There is a key here for the B flat, E flat. So sorry.
Mm.
And here is a key. Here is a key for C sharp. Here's a key for F sharp with this fingering.
Yes.
Goes here and F sharp here. And on the back, there is a precious key for B, natural B. Because natural B is a very difficult note, quite unexisting on 6-0 serpent. And here you can see the mouthpiece. It's a boxwood mouthpiece, conical one. And here is a horn mouthpiece. You don't see, but the shape is very hemispherical, and the sound is very different. Here you are, the traditional church serpent with 6 holes. So this 6-hole serpent, you will see some photo on the later. The 6-hole serpent is some notes are very difficult. C sharp is very difficult. C sharp in the low range, and B is very difficult. For B, I don't know if you are playing tuba, but for B, it's like C, but buzz. You buzz, and then you try to make a B. and it's very. Some people succeed very well, but it's very difficult. It's difficult.
Okay, thank you very much. And lastly, I heard that there is an instrument called Russian bassoon.
Yeah.
It is an instrument that is
What did you say about Russian bassoon?
Russian bassoon.
Sorry. Yeah. Do you want to know something about Russian bassoon?
Yes, could you show me the instrument?
Oh.
Because in Korea that instrument does not exist. Like no instrument exists. No kind of that instrument exists in Korea. So
okay. You want to know some information. If you want, I propose to you to answer later. Because I show some information about Russian bassoon in my diapositive, in my presentation, and we can go on, and you will see a part of instrument making very fastly, and if you have time enough. And there is a part on a Russian bassoon, and then we will speak of a Russian bassoon at this time. Okay, that's okay for you? Okay, I share screen.
Yes.
You must give me authorization to share screen. Okay. Okay. This first diapositive is just to say, to make a serpent, it needs wood, large piece of wood. Here you can see a piece of wood not so large, not enough large to make a serpent, and it needs large tools also to work with this type of piece of wood. And I continue. Here it's a joke. It is just the wood. After finishing a serpent, it is just for the fire. For example, to make one serpent, it needs 30 kilo of wood, of maple, for example, and a serpent is 3 kilo weight. So it is divided by 10. So here is my way to make the serpent, to be sure to have the same bore and the same geometry each time. It's a machine from the middle of 20th century, 1950. And this type of machine was invented in 1940, and it is a machine allowed to copy the same form. When you make, for instance, I don't know the name in English, but shoes in wood. I don't know the name, the shoes in wood, or something very complex, not a square form. So I buy this machine in 29 and make my first step on this machine at this time. So what the combination of the internal bore and internal crafting and external gives that before assembly the two parts. The wood here is maple, and here's walnut. Walnut was the most of the historical serpent are in walnut, but there are in maple, but the most are in walnut. In France, there was a maker named Baudouin in 19th century, and Baudouin Père early 19th century, and Baudouin Fils later. And there are more thousand and thousand serpents of Baudouin in France. It's incredible. In each church there was a serpent Baudouin. Here, the example of details of work when cutting. Here you see when cutting the bell and giving his definitive form with the bell. In the bell. Example of wood finish, the same wood in maple, and the joint between the two parts. A photo of the joint before assembly. Just stop me if it is not clear. Don't be afraid. Okay. Here, a part, very important part. Here the leather. The leather is with a special tool. The leather is put it at the same thickness. Here, and you can see the leather. And this part of the leather is made like this because here to make the joint, to make a beautiful joint, you need to do this type of work, or this type of work with a very cutting razor. Here, example of problem you have when you put leather. You have to find a solution to this type of work. So the idea is to reduce the wrinkles with a hot melt, a special hot melt I made. You can see the glue you see here, the special hot glue. Sorry. I make. You can see some glue here, and to work very softly this type of wrinkle and to reduce them. Oh, sorry. Here you can see the same part as the precedent diapositive. It's here, then it's here. You can see it's going to be good. There are some smaller wrinkles and some smaller here, but it begins to be good. Here it's a view of the internal bell when the leather is returned to the internal bell. Then you can see here the solution is coming for the leather, and then it's the end on the other part with the glue is going away. It's some glue. And then it's finished on this part. You can see here it's maple, very clear wood. So this part is very important. The leather has two functions with serpent. It is, if I do this when there is no leather, it breaks. And I think that leather has function for sound. I do believe because it makes the serpent more strong and more efficient for the waves, for the sound waves. Okay, then I think we arrived to Russian basin. Here you can see a Russian basin.
Oh.
Yes, an upright serpent. Sorry, upright serpent. This instrument was. I made the measurement in a Metropolitan Museum in New York in 2013, and I had to make a lot of prototypes during 2 years before to find a solution. It's a very strange instrument. My opinion is that it was invented to take a place more efficient in military band and in a symphonic orchestra. But it's a compromission between the internal bore of a serpent I may say this part is quite similar to a serpent, and suddenly there is a bell, and the bell changed a lot of things, and it changes in direction of a more symphonic sound, more adapted sound to military band. But negative part is that some notes are very not centered and unstable. So I may say it stays interesting, and I sell some of them, and people they like to play with that. But they say some notes are a challenge more than on the serpent, and some notes are easier. It's very strange, very special. Actually, I continue to make some research, and I find two instruments that I'm copying nowadays with a lot of hopes for the results. And I look for the results because these instruments have a good sound, the original one. So I wait for finishing the prototypes, and I will see. So Russian bassoon, it's what is special regard to the serpent. The serpent, the life of the serpent was very long, between early 17 to early 19, maybe middle of 19th century. But Russian bassoon, it was 20 years between the end of serpent at the early 19th century, in orchestra, I say, in orchestra, and the apparition of tuba in orchestra. When Berlioz discovered the tuba in orchestra, I think he said to the serpentist, "Go away, please. I want tuba." It's a joke, but I'm not sure it's. But I think it works. It has been working like this because the music was more adapted to tuba or to opi클레이드. So Russian bassoon, there was not a lot of Russian bassoon made by maker. I think Nick Perry made some in Great Britain. Not a lot of people. Maybe in Germany some. And it's very special. It's very special for the maker. It's a challenge. Actually, for me, it is a challenge. Here you can see the wood. It's a special upright serpent because the nomination. Sorry, upright serpent. Some curator will name this one a Russian bassoon, but the eminent curator of a museum in Metropolitan Museum, Herbert Heide, he said it's a upright serpent. Okay, it's an upright serpent. I may say the internal bore is closer of the serpent bore here. This part of the bore, yeah, is closer than the bore here. And for a Russian bassoon, it's more different. And often, a lot of Russian bassoon have an animal head. I will show you some photo. I have not here. Okay. So here you can see the work for the external part of this instrument. And here the same. Here are different tools to make the straight bore with a lathe. These are some tools made by myself, and then there is nothing special here. Then you see the original was covered with leather. I think that's the other reason is called an upright serpent. It's a C-sharp K, B K, and here there is the hole for the D-K. Here it is a Baudouin serpent that I restored. So you see here the hole here to grip the serpent to a belt to hold it when you play the upright serpent. Okay. Do you want to see other thing about Russian bassoon?
Oh no, I think this will do.
What?
I think this is enough.
Oh, sorry, I don't understand.
I think this is sufficient.
Okay.
Oh, thank you for your information. It's very instructive. Very instructive.
Okay, thank you. If you want to know other things, you can ask. No problem.
Okay, I think that's all we wanted to ask.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so thank you for your participation in the interview. Thank you very much.
May I ask some question to Seung?
Yes.
Me too.
Yes, of course.
It's not easy to understand everything when the language are so different, and to write it's so different. What is your your exact proposition regard to your interest to the serpent?
Oh, so the purpose of our interest in the serpent is that we are carrying out a project on advertising the various tuba family instruments to the South Korean musical community. Mm-hmm. So we are trying to advertise serpents, saxophones, ophicleides, and so on. So we wanted to study about the serpents, and I think you're the perfect person to teach us about the serpent. So that's the reason for our interest.
Okay, thank you for the. Okay.